Well, hi everybody, it's another Conversations With, and I'm delighted today to have with us Cw Brodeur. And Lisa and I go back a few years when we had the radio station, and a lot of you folks locally know of her and the tragedy that happened in her life now 20 years ago.
20 years, yep.
And you've been fighting this battle for 20 years.
20 years, yep.
Well, Lisa, it's delighted to have you with us, and Kyle's with us today. And here we sit, you know, now 30 years old. You had a big birthday.
Kyle's 30 years old, yep. He just had a big birthday bash.
I think one of the tragedies is that, and I did a program recently about it. I had the opportunity to spend 4 years at the registry when Governor Dukakis was governor. I was a special assistant to the registrar. And I used to see, every Monday morning, would get the reports from the weekend. And the tragedy would get the state police pictures, and you'd see when they first got there, and they'd open the door of the car that smashed against a tree, and
traumatizing.
And beer cans would roll out, you know, and it was just. And then I get up every morning early. I watch the early news, and I got to tell you, there's not a morning goes by that there isn't another drunk driving accident. Somebody.
It's all the time.
Crosses the wrong lane, somebody hits somebody in a crosswalk. It's just, you just go, wow, when are we going to learn? You know.
And today there's no excuse.
No.
Because you got Uber, you can have designated drivers, you can call someone.
It's a judgment people make because they think it can't happen to them.
It's a choice.
And I was telling Lisa the story, and I remember vividly. I was at the registry one day and the call came in, someone wanted to talk to the registrar, and he shipped it over to me, and it was a woman who was irate, and she was ranting and raving. She was all upset. And when are we, meaning the registry, going to do something about it? She saw a thing on the news that somebody had been stopped for the 4th time, drunk driving. And it was his 4th offense, and he was stopped, and they were just, you know, what are we going to do about it? And I talked to her for a while, and I got to calm down. I said, well, give me the name of the person you're talking about. And when she and I were chatting, I punched it up in the computer that I had in my office. And I finally said to her, and the screen comes right up, I said, do you know what I'm looking at? She says, what? I says, I'm looking at his driver's license. We have it. We've had it for 10 years. Doesn't have one. Well, how can he drive a car? I says, he can't register a car. He can't get a license because he's on the computer. If he goes in and tries, well, how can he get a car? I says, his sister, his brother, his buddy, his mother, his father. I said, he borrows the car. Well, then you ought to get after them. I says, we do. The minute we find out whose car it is, because we got the number plate, we go right to see them. And I said, we think they lie to us. She said, what do you mean? I said, well, if I go up and it's his sister or brother or best friend, he took the car again. I didn't know he took my car. I said, and they got a problem because they got an insurance issue.
Yep.
You know, because he's wrecked that car on them. But I said, it's one of those tragedies, and it happens, and it's horrible, and you never can tell. And I said, so the bottom line to it all is, you know, I said, we have to be vigilant, and we hope that people will begin to realize. Now, the reason I tell you this story, folks, is because Lisa is doing a dramatically interesting thing. Tell us about the DUI program that you're involved in.
The DUI program is at Harrington Hospital. Kyle and I go in once every 3 months to do the victims class. And the first time in 30 years, they said that they have a program that is actually working. And it's just been amazing. I get letters from some of the attendees saying how, wow, we've opened their eyes. They never realized what loss could be and how it could affect a family. And not everyone dies.
No.
Kyle has survived. Yes, he beat all odds, but he survived. He's had 28 surgeries. He was in a coma for a full year. Wow. I mean, he's just amazing.
He's paid the price.
Oh, yes. Several.
And then some.
Yes.
And he also has an infection. He has to be very careful, too.
Yes, he had an infection that was in his body for a few years, and it actually became so severe that once it would have reached his bloodstream, he could have died.
Yeah.
It took me 3 years to find a doctor that would actually operate on him.
Wow.
And then a doctor finally stepped up, and he did the surgery, and luckily Kyle made it 10% chance of survival.
Yeah.
And he made it, but I'll tell you, what a scary time.
Oh, yeah.
Having to say goodbye to this kid, huh, honey?
Yeah.
Saying goodbye
Yeah.
to him, and
Yeah.
having surgery, and just not knowing
Yeah.
what if.
Yeah.
But I always said to myself, it's not Kyle's time.
No.
He's
No.
he's still got too much to do on this earth.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you've taken this tragedy and you've used it for good. You've used it to help others. You've used it to teach others. You've used it to reach others.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's like anything else. And I remember saying this when I was involved in many years ago when I was Commissioner of Highway Safety. Governor Volpe, way back in the 60s, appointed me. And we were working on the first drunk driving law. Mm-hmm. And I remember we were at the State House, and we had 3 state troopers came in, and we had a 6-pack of beer. And we had, in those days, they were real primitive, the primitive breathalyzer. And the trooper drank 1 beer, and then we'd check him, and to show the governor how this thing worked.
Yeah.
And I remember the first bill was a .10, and that was the first bill we raised. And then over the years, it's been dropped now as a .08, which is a better idea.
Yeah.
But the first bill that was passed was a .10, and yet, you know, some people, as I told you the story at this person with 4 DUIs, they never learn, you know. And the tragedy is that if they're real alcoholics, it's a disease.
It is a disease.
And it's a terrible disease. And yet, I've had so many conversations with different people. And this great friend of mine, and happens to be my own personal doctor, who teaches at Harvard Medical School 3 days, he's at Mass General, Dr. Gorel. And he says, you know, if somebody comes to me, Dick, and they tell me that they've got cancer, I'd have to look at them and say, you know what? There's no cure. We don't know. We can give you medications. We can do therapy. We can do radiation. We can do chemo. We can even get into remission. Mm-hmm. But there is no real cure.
Right.
He says, but if they come to me with alcoholism, there's a cure for that. It's called AA. And if you go to those meetings and you work that program, it works, because it's worked for hundreds of people. And in fact, when he told me that, I went and found a local AA group, and we actually did a TV show, an actual AA meeting live on television. Mm-hmm. We had 3 gentlemen and 3 women who, they sat with their backs to the camera because it's anonymous, but they actually did a meeting. And I've had a priest who called me up and saw it, because we play it on Channel 192.
Yeah.
And he called me up and he said, could I get a couple of copies of that? And we made copies for him. He says, because his people come to him and say, my husband has been home for 2 days. And sometimes it's the wife. Mm-hmm. You know, she comes in every morning and she's drunk. What do I do? And he says, I just give him that. They go watch this program and get him into an AA meeting. Mm-hmm. You know, and so those are some. But you have done so much. Let's talk about the book. You wrote a book 4 years ago.
Yes, A Mother's Journey through faith, hope, and courage, and it's going well. I can't complain. I never thought writing a book was going to have such an impact in having. I become a presenter. Who would have thought I'd be doing presentations?
Right.
But we've been to many schools. Tomorrow we're at Gilbertsville, the police station, and we have a group of students there that we're doing a presentation for.
Wow. In Gilbertville.
Yeah,
I used
in Gilbertville.
I used to, one time I owned WARE in Ware, and Gilbertville's the next town to Ware. So I know the area very, very well. Yeah. But so you get a lot of people reach out to you to go do these programs.
Yeah.
And you know, folks, I just want to take a second, because here's a classic example of a woman who went through a horrible, horrible tragedy, lost her husband in the accident, and certainly poor Kyle has struggled for now 20 years, and yet she sits, and she's got a great attitude, and she is out reaching out and helping people and going around as many places as ask her. She's worked at, as she mentioned earlier, a DUI program up at Harrington Hospital, where she reaches out to these folks and tries to get them to comprehend and understand, you know, what's really going on and what it can be. And it's been so she's just, you know, I met her 5 or 6 years ago, and then she did the book, and we had her on a couple of times, and it's been unbelievable how well.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
talk
bringing
about the
change.
chair, because now you're involved with, what's his name? The work.
Oh, Mike Donato.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah,
And-
Kyle has a sport again, Team Unstoppable, and they are on Facebook too.
Yeah.
And yeah, they do 5K and 10K races, and he's giving Kyle a sport again.
Right.
Mike offered my son his arms and his legs and made him a running chair, and now these chairs are being sold all over the world.
Right, I know,
It's
because
amazing
as we all
story.
know, Dick Hoyt and his son ran the Boston Marathon for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And they got an ESPY award and everything. And I know that Dick's involved in that.
Yep.
With
with Mike Donato. Yep.
Yeah,
And
with
it's
those
going
chairs.
really well, and it's changing lives. And actually, we just took Kyle on the beach with the running chair, and Kyle loved it. It was so nice just to be able to be on the sand next to
Right.
the ocean.
Right.
It just opens
Well, that's
up a
what I'm
whole new
saying.
world.
It gives them an opportunity to really do things and go places that they normally would never have been able to do.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
And it's so important. It's so important. How are the girls?
Oh my God, my girls are wonderful. My daughter Kimberly is a nurse now.
Really?
Yeah, she's actually at Harrington Hospital, but they're closing down the maternity, so she's going to be starting a new job soon. And my daughter Katie graduates in December, and she's going to be a PA.
Really?
Yeah, so they're all done their school.
Whoa.
And my stepdaughter Cassie, she's a nurse also. So yeah, it's amazing. And Kyle is busy saving lives. So
Wow.
I'm so proud of all of them.
Well,
They're
but
just
that's so
amazing.
great about the girls. One's going to be a PA and the other's an RN.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, we're so fortunate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And basically, this might have all come from
Kyle.
a tragedy.
Kyle has made many nurses.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people that have worked, CNAs that worked for Kyle, PCAs, they have all, most of them have become nurses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a physician's assistant.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, the PA
that's
and
special.
RN. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they're all
That's
special. It's a
special,
lot
yeah.
of schooling there. It's all hard.
Yeah, oh.
I don't care if it's
Oh,
a
no,
nurse or a PA. That's all so hard.
It is. It's not easy.
No,
And
yeah.
but it's a great education. And I know a couple of PAs who have been very helpful in my life, and who really reached out. And
It's just like a doctor.
yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah, well
they're
they
just
are.
like a doctor,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
they can prescribe medicine, they can do everything. So
Yep.
they've got an incredible education. But you got to be
Yeah,
so
and
proud of the
then-
girls.
Oh yeah, and then one got married.
Really?
My baby, yeah, Katie, and Kyle actually, well, here's a picture. There she is right there. Kyle has it up. But she got married and Kyle gave her away.
Oh wow, isn't that
Yeah.
great?
Yeah, Kyle gave her away, and my daughter Kimberly just got engaged, so she's getting married in June.
Well,
June
good
9th.
Good for them.
Yeah, and my
So that's-
stepdaughter's pregnant, so
Oh.
we're going to become grandparents. So
How
I mean, we
about
got
that?
a lot happening.
Yes, you do. You've
Yeah.
got a lot going on.
It's exciting.
A lot going on. And then now he does presentations.
Oh, Kyle comes with me, yes, to the presentations. And actually, our last presentation we did before the school year ended was in Lowell, Mass. And if you were to go to, if you're on the internet, on Facebook, A Mother's Journey, you will see the video of Lowell High School, and it's almost at 22,000 views.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was such an amazing presentation. And you will see Kyle, how the students just go crazy over Kyle.
Yeah.
He arm wrestles the
Oh,
students,
wow.
and they look at him thinking, you know, they're so sad because the presentation is sad, but then I tell stories how Kyle gets in trouble, and they're all like, how does he get in trouble?
Yeah.
And they're laughing hysterically
yeah.
because he looks innocent, but believe me, he's not
Yeah.
innocent.
No.
And then we do arm wrestling. Well, they say,
Yeah.
oh, I can do this
Oh,
easy.
yeah.
Well,
Bang.
boy,
Yeah.
he puts them right down,
Yeah.
and they are so embarrassed after. But
Oh, yeah.
it's hilarious. So if you can watch it, go on A Mother's Journey on Facebook and watch that video.
Right.
You will just love it.
Right. Where can people get the books if they? I don't know. If some folks may not even realize, Lisa, that you wrote a book.
Yes, my book right now, let me see. I know Brookfield Orchards still has it in Brookfield. Angles here, I think they still have 1 or 2 copies.
Yeah.
Charlton Optical,
Yeah.
I think they still have 1 or 2 opticals. Or you just reach me. My email is Lisa Brodeur, Lisa A, B-R-O-D, @charter.net. Or you can just go on lisabrodeur.com. Or you can just go on Facebook. There's all kinds of ways to reach me.
They can get a hold of you, and they can get copies of that book. Because if you haven't read it, it's an incredible book, and it might tear you up a little bit, but that's okay. You'll be okay. You'll get through it.
It's a great book if you have someone that's a new driver, someone that you really want to bring awareness to in a whole different way. And for someone who has a drug or alcohol problem, someone that you're trying to open their eyes to say, look at what you can do. It's used for inspiration for students just to make good choices and decisions, and adults. And also it's used for people to help them on their own journey in life.
Oh, yeah.
Because the way I had to think and cope, mend and heal. And so everyone's using it in different ways.
But you know, one of the things, waking up the next day and over that period of time when it first happened, and having to face the challenges that you faced.
Oh, it was hard, believe me.
I'm telling you. I mean,
survivor's guilt and trying to go on every day.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot to it. And waking up, realizing my husband was really gone, never coming back.
Right.
Seeing the injuries of my
and the kids were only little kids.
My girls were 3 and 5, and they were screaming in pain. My daughter Kimberly was vomiting, and she couldn't speak. Kyle was in a coma. The doctors telling me he wasn't going to make it. Myself being so injured. I mean, hospitals for a year before we came home. Leave the hospital to go bury my husband. Another car almost hits us. I'm back into surgery because my arm all rebroke.
Oh, wow.
And there's so much to the story. Trials, going to meet the man who did this to us. Multiple trials. You know, there's so much in the book.
Oh, yeah. Well, not only that, but I mean, when you look back at it 20 years later, the fact that you're sitting here and Kyle's with you.
Oh my God,
and the things that you've accomplished.
Never would have thought.
And the challenges that you've overcome, and the issues that you've faced, and yet go up to Lowell High School and talk to the kids. Go to Harrington and work with the drunk drivers. The various things that you're doing speaks so well, where somebody else might have just thrown up their hands and said, it's over.
It's easier to do that.
Well, it is. There's no question.
But what I always try to tell everyone, survival is in all how you think. If you wake up every day and say, I cannot do this, and afraid of the day ahead, or you're not going to make it.
Well, it's funny.
Can't look at your losses.
It's funny you say that. Growing up, I learned it, and I based my whole life. And I tell people this story, and I tell my dog, he laughs at me. There's one word in my vocabulary that I do not know what it means, and that's the word can't.
Can't. Me too. That's
Don't know what it means. Now look, I know that if I run in front of a big truck, I could get hurt.
Right.
Okay? So there are some things I choose not to do.
Exactly. That's like us, right, Kyle?
But don't tell me I can't.
Right.
Because I can certainly run in front of a truck.
That's right. It's a choice.
I just don't make that choice.
It's a choice.
But it drives me crazy when people say, I can't do that. Yes, you can. What do you mean you can't?
It's what you put your mind to.
And this is what I learned. I told you about my great high school football coach, who, my junior year, we were undefeated, won the state championship. And you never quit, you never give up. You can talk about the Patriots last year, down 28-3, and end up winning the game. It would have been much easier for them to say, oh, well, this one's gone. And they didn't, and they stayed in there, and they won the game. And it's because they had that drive of not quitting and not giving up. And Kyle's proven that beyond a reasonable doubt.
28 surgeries. You know how many times he has said, screaming in pain for years, the spasms taking over his whole body. And he was like, I'm not getting out of bed, I'm not getting out. And I was like, yes, you are getting out of bed, because we have to live. We have to find new ways of doing everything. And we did, right, Kyle?
Well, but I mean, look at this thing he's got here that he can actually communicate with.
Yes, this is a speech device, yes. The Prologue to Go program, it's excellent. I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Well, doesn't he do a presentation with it?
Yes, he does. He has, would you like to hear it?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So when we go to a school, one of the things that I have Kyle do is he has a message to the students. And so this is Kyle's special message. Go ahead, honey, you can play it, that he plays.
I hope you all realize how important, loved, and needed you all are to your family and friends. Every decision you make in life will affect you and others. I didn't come here today for you all to feel bad for me. I am here today to let you know that a wrong choice or decision you may make could lead you to a life being paralyzed just like me, or even get killed like my father. Your wrong choice could make another family go through all the hardships that our family has been through. We all take for granted every day that we can walk, talk, eat, and be totally self-sufficient. But let me tell you, I was just like you, and it was all taken from me in a quick second. I didn't even make a wrong choice. I'm the result of someone's wrong choice of driving intoxicated and taking drugs. I am trapped in a body that doesn't want to move. I live in pain that will never go away. I will never eat like you do. My mouth muscles aren't strong enough. I can't use a cell phone or talk like you. That is why I am using my speech device to be my voice. I don't have the strength and air in my voice box. Everything I do is a challenge. Take a look around you. You see your friends. You're in a regular school. I lost all of this. I was only in 5th grade. My friends became scared of me. They didn't know how to act in front of me anymore. I was different. Not like them anymore. In my mind, I was still Kyle. I wanted to play sports, go frog hunting, go to school, hang with my friends. I had trouble accepting why couldn't I? I know I was in a chair and couldn't move, but why a different school? My new classmates were now all in wheelchairs, some that couldn't speak, yelling in discomfort. Why was I given this kind of life? Why did I lose my father? Why so much pain, and 27 surgeries, and so many hospital stays? I have had so many challenges to overcome, but guess what I did, and I choose not to dwell on all my losses. I am unstoppable, and I choose to live life to the fullest, and to make the best out of it. Always remember, life is 10% of what is given to you and 90% of what you make of it. Only you can make the correct choices for you. Don't let peer pressure or the feeling you can't do something stop you. You can do anything you put your mind to. I was told I wouldn't live, eat, have a voice, even know my mom, but guess what? I fought, I believed, and I was determined to still live. I didn't want to die or be in a vegetation state. My voice is a speech device, but Kyle is still Kyle, and I may be in a chair and paralyzed, but guess what? I am amazing, and I am loved. I know I am making a difference in society, and I am determined to live life to the fullest.
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
That's fabulous.
It's powerful.
Well, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here and I'm saying, imagine a couple of kids sitting out there, high school kids, you know, and you know, I remember from my days at the registry, and people don't realize it, there are more accidents caused by kids who are 16 to 21 than any other age group.
Yep.
There are more accidents. And,
More deaths, too, even for the young drivers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember watching, I was at the registry at the time, and I went home, and I was just, it was two beautiful young ladies, and they went to a friend's house for a Super Bowl party. And I believe, I'm trying to remember, one was 20 and one was 18, in that age group. And they were sisters. And they left the party, the Super Bowl party, you know, about 1 in the morning, and they were driving home, and unfortunately went off the road, hit a tree, and they were both killed. And I remember when I got the report that there was beer cans in the car, and they had been partying, you know, and both of them were killed, and it was so tragic. Beautiful young women, And as Kyle just said, we have choices to make, you know, and you know, and you make that choice. Look, nobody says you can't go out and enjoy yourself, but if you enjoy yourself too much, the last thing you need to do is get in your car and drive it.
That's right.
And today, there's I mean, I used to remember I had 5 kids, and I used to tell the kids, as they got older, if you go out and you do something, and I called it stupid because they were underage, if you do something stupid with your buddies and you got that car or somebody's got a car, I don't care what time it is, you call me.
That's right.
You call the house, tell me
Rather
where
see
you
you
are,
safe.
and I'll go get you.
Yeah.
But don't you dare drive that car or come home with somebody else who's been drinking.
Yeah.
You know,
But you'd be surprised. I talk to so many students. You would be surprised on how many students are afraid to talk to their parents
oh,
and to tell their parent that they have been drinking.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
they rather take the chance and get in the car because they don't want to get in trouble with their parents.
that's right. Oh no, there's no
It's-
question, Lisa, that
Yeah. And then another one that is
and
big.
you know it's funny, and I've been there, and I've said, you know, how many of you kids have had a beer this year? You
Oh, they all have.
And you see the hands,
They all
you
have,
know,
yeah.
you know, and say, here you go.
Right. But another big thing is, because I'm dealing a lot with parents and students,
Yep.
we always want our children to make all the best decisions and do everything correct.
Yeah.
But then we have to look at ourselves as parents. Are we making the best choices and decisions to be the best role models for our children?
No, unfortunately.
And unfortunately, if you really looked at it, if us parents really watched what we are doing every day when we're in a car or
Yep.
we're at home, do we really want our children looking at their cell phone while we're driving or at the stoplight? We're trying to teach the kids put the phone away, turn
Yeah.
the phone off. But what are we doing?
Oh,
And so if we want to be the best role models, we do need to start changing our ways.
that's right.
And a lot of people say, well, I'm an experienced driver. I've been driving for so many
Oh,
years.
really?
No, it doesn't matter. It takes that one quick second.
Well,
That's all it takes.
Not only that, but you know, I was at a program I had to go to in Boston. I'm involved in the town government, and it was a program that I wanted to go to. It was to go over all the open meeting law and the ethics reports and so forth. I was there, and there was a session on fraud. The Attorney General's office did, and the gentleman who did the program was a wonderful speaker. Get him in, and he said, "By the way, has anybody here ever driven on the Mass Turnpike?" Well, we all put our hand up. He said, "Does anybody know the speed limit on the Mass Turnpike?" Everybody, with 50 people, everybody in the room said 65. Then he said, "I have one more question. Has anybody in this room ever driven more than 65 miles an hour on the Mass Turnpike?" Everybody put their hand up.
Of course.
He says, "You all just broke the law."
Yeah.
He says, "That's how easy it is to break the law."
But that's because
And you don't even think about it.
they allow you to, though.
Yeah.
If the speed limit says 65, people automatically go 10, 15 or more. It's
And you know who the biggest perpetrators are? Did you ever see the state troopers go down the road without their
Oh,
lights
yeah.
on? 85 miles an hour in
Ugh,
those,
I'm scared
you know,
to
and
drive
they
that
zoom right
fast.
by you, you know, and so that's the way it is. Well, Lisa, we've run out of time, but once again, I'm so pleased just you were able to stop by. Kyle, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh,
And
thank
that
you.
message was unbelievable. And,
Oh.
and folks, if you want to reach out to Lisa, you certainly can do that. She lives in Charlton, and you can find her. She gave you, do it again
yeah,
for the
it's my email is Lisa Lisa another A BROD @charter.net or lisabrodeur.com, or we're on Facebook, A Mother's Journey.
Well, there you are, and you know, if you've got young kids and you've got especially teenagers who either are driving or on the verge of getting their licenses, you know, you want to remember that when they get that license, what that thing really is, and it's a license to do some crazy things, and you don't want that to happen.
Nothing wrong with bringing awareness.
Oh no, no,
Yeah.
no. Well, Lisa, once again, thanks a bunch. And folks, this was a wonderful program. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And you know, down the road we'll get Lisa back again. And she's been a remarkable woman. and she does remarkable things.
Oh, thank you.
So that's another Conversations With. Thanks for watching.